Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks if I can provide a few examples of narcissists who play the victim. So I'll answer this question by looking at 3 examples of a narcissist who plays the victim. This type of narcissist looks for people to have compassion and sympathy for them when it's not warranted by the circumstances. So another way of putting this is that they tend to deceive. They exaggerate or fabricate stories of loss, oppression, or persecution.
And the Manhattan Beach Police Department at that time colluding in a diabolical plan to terrorize my family and then railroad them out of Manhattan Beach.
And then try to make sure that everybody knows about their story. They may promote it through social media, by telling people in person, any way they can get the word out there, again, about the story they made up. Now, this type of narcissist is usually thought of as a vulnerable narcissist, as opposed to a grandiose narcissist. A grandiose narcissist is typically socially dominant, confident, and resistant to criticism. The vulnerable narcissist has a lot of shame, they're resentful, insecure, and they're hypersensitive to criticism. Just like with many behaviors, this playing the victim behavior occurs on a continuum. There are people who tend to play the victim a little bit, and then there are people who really just go over the top.
100 years ago, our family is still suffering the trauma of those diabolical plans to terrorize our family. Generational wealth has been passed down from their families to them, but we still have the pain and hurt of that terrorism passed down to us, and we need to have this rectified. There are no amount of money actually can repay you for the terrorism that our family went through under the guise of municipal work.
And that's what I'm really talking about here. The people that really take this behavior to the extreme, even to the point where the behavior can become criminal, like staging a scene or situation to look like a crime has occurred against them. This personality type actually has some overlap with factitious disorder imposed on self and potentially factitious disorder imposed on another. The latter disorder is also known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a disorder where a caregiver hurts someone in their care to attract sympathy for them, for themselves, right? Not for the person they're caring for, but for the caregiver. This situation, though, with the narcissist who plays the victim is a bit different in the sense that the narcissist is not pretending to be sick, not making it seem like someone else is sick either. They're just engaging in a number of irrational and dramatic activities to attract attention. Typically, these types of narcissists are unsuccessful. I've seen a few exceptions to this, but not many. Typically, this is an individual who has attempted to succeed. They've attempted to gain attention for a positive reason, but they have failed. So in the conventional competition we see in society, the race for status, power, wealth, affection, a good job, the narcissist has not been able to compete.
Even though a lot of us have lived in extreme poverty since their demise.
And realizing they can't win in a conventional game, they rewrite the rules. They turn things around and try to gain attention for a negative reason. And of course, again, as I mentioned, they fabricate situations. They make up things. They have a high level of neuroticism and they're quite callous, so they lack empathy. So if we combine this with the criminal activity that we often see, many would qualify as being sociopathic. Sometimes they plan out their victim role quite carefully, and that's mostly what we see here in the examples that I'm going to be talking about, although much of the time it's actually impulsive. They don't think through it much at all. This type of narcissist is unusual in the sense that typically a narcissist wants attention for a positive reason. They want people to recognize how great they are, how beautiful they are, how successful they are. This type of narcissist, though, is really looking for somebody to feel sorry for them, to recognize that they have it worse than anyone else. It's really an odd expression of narcissism.